So I did kind of have a question. You've done a lot of research with cows and evaluating their body condition score, and I was just wondering about the body condition score in heifers and how that may affect reproductive success. Because as we know, producers tend to use body weight and height and heart girth to see if they're ready to be bred. Um, do you see evaluating body condition score as being a better way to go about it, or?
That's a good question because I really had not given a lot of thought to body condition scores in heifers. And so when I did a little search in the literature, I was hard pressed to find any papers on looking at body condition scores. Generally, if you follow the kind of the Penn State recommendations that have kind of been the standard for years, that heifers should be about 55% of their mature body weight, or for Holsteins, about 750 to 800 pounds. When they are bred the first time, they should be about 48 to 50 inches tall by the desired breeding age of about 13 to 15 months. And so after they calve, heifers should be about 85 to 90% of their mature body weight, and they should have received, or should have achieved, I should say, about 95% of their mature structural growth, and their height, in other words, to be about 52 to 55 inches at the withers. I could not find any studies that looked at body condition scores in heifers. We know that visually assessing body weight by humans is good when animals are under-conditioned or over-conditioned, but it's that middle range that we're kind of looking for. It's really difficult to determine a heifer's height and body weight if it's normal for age. And I found a study in the literature was really kind of interesting. It said that this was done in the United Kingdom, and veterinary practitioners, they underestimated body weight in dairy cows by about 65% of the time. So they're off about 140 pounds. And in the same study, the dairy farmers underestimated body weight by about 81% of the time, and they were off by 214 pounds. So what that tells us, evaluating body weight visually is not very good. So maybe there needs to be some studies done. But there is one report from Penn State that said that heifers probably should be about 3 to 3.25 body condition score at breeding time. We're talking about 12 to 15 months, and certainly not less than 2.5. And when they calve, they ought to be calving at about 3.5 at 22 to 24 months of age. So that's the only thing I can find in the literature about heifers. And so obviously, this recommendation they've had from work that was done at Penn State, I think is consistent with what we'd expect. If we want cows to be at about 3 to 3.25 at the beginning of the dry off period, and of course, and maintain that, obviously, for heifers, if they're about 3.5 body score, when they calve at 22 to 24 months, that would be probably ideal based on that one study.
That definitely makes sense. And I was always thinking it, might be a little bit harder to body condition these heifers just because, they're still growing, and then you're going to have, like you said, the breed differences. And if they're growing, that might cause some difficulties. Have you seen anything about how accurate body condition scoring heifers might be?
Remember that body condition scores have been validated in cows, and applying them to heifers, we probably need to be a little bit careful there, because there's two really good studies that were done in North America, one at University of Penn by Jimmy Ferguson and another one done by Edmondson. That's the two standard papers we always quote. But those descriptions done there are really consistent with what happens to the rear end of the cow, from the pins to the hooks and around the tail head, and the fat deposition that occurs in that or above the thurl area there, and the angle of how much between the hooks and the pins, how much that drops off or becomes hollow. and that's consistent in cows, but I'm not sure in heifers that's probably applies as well. So I think perhaps we need to be a little careful of what we do with heifers.